Hey guys, number one Marmaduke fan here. We're going to review issue 2 of the remaining Allegiance art series. I gave Bass Reeves its own review because that's one of my favorite comics of the year, and I thought it deserved it. Norah Saga is a really close second. I would say the quality of all of the Allegiance art books is generally good. They get good artists. It has a nice quality to the paper. The stories are all interesting. I'm interested in all the stories. The thing that's putting Norah's Saga and Bass Reeves like above the crop in my estimation is both of them make sure to do something really interesting and really fun to advance the story in each issue. So the writer for Norah's Saga is Blake Northcott. The artist is Kelsey Shannon, who also did the cover. So Norah's Saga follows Norah, a Canadian girl, kind of like with some, emotional teenage drama issues, trying to work out her issues with her dad. And she and her dad have an argument while driving. They swerve off the road when they see a deer into icy water. And Norah comes out in Viking times, and of course all the Vikings think she must be some sort of witch, right? Like she's got this magic device with a person trapped inside it. That's the only explanation. After some an exciting what would it be, like fight sequence when an enemy Viking group attacks the village and steals their sword, Norah's able to convince them that she's actually a servant of Thor because she just so happens to have like a decorative Thor's hammer on her neck, and they like Thor, so they decide to help her out. Norah has to kind of come to terms with the fact that she's not in her home anymore. And there's some fun stuff where she talks to like an old lady who has memories of her father coming back in time and being this famous badass. So they're used, so like the old mystic lady has heard of these time traveling types before. There's also a really good pattern of Norah. She's not a complete idiot. Like you would be slow to believe you'd actually been teleported back in time. But once she sees evidence of it, like she's shocked and then she accepts it and she decides she's got to do what she's got to do. Her father went on a quest to find kind of like this mystical creature that can play a magic song. And if you can play this magic song, you can open a portal to another world. But her father never returned. So we're pretty worried about her father. And she gets the bright idea that, well, I don't need to capture the creature. I just need to record its song, right? And I have a device to do that. So this is a really good use of modern technology in a story. It's not putting in an iPhone because tee-hee, we have iPhones now. Isn't that silly? It's actually having like a teenager figure out a creative way to use her modern technology in a magical situation. There's some great gags like Astrid, the cool white-haired Viking girl waifu, is kind of like impatient with Norah. They do a great gag where they point to this guy and say, Nandor the Destroyer. No, that's not him. That's Nandor the Destroyer because he destroys all our stuff. So we're going to have like our tough girl. We're going to have our comic relief guy. And there's a time is of the essence element to this because her battery is winding down. Great stuff. It feels like the story has advanced and we're set for her to go on her adventure to find the song and get back home. So for the other two, one of the things that concerns me is they're either like too cerebral or maybe they haven't been focused on the main character. So issue 1 of The Futurist kind of opened up with, some dumb British kids going to talk to a mystic guy, and you think, okay, are the dumb kids the protagonist? No. Okay, is the old mystic guy the protagonist? No. And then finally we met him, and it's Colonel Teddy Gunn, a good old tough Scottish soldier serving in India. And issue 1 ended with one of his fellow soldiers killing a bunch of British soldiers, betraying him, and revealing that he's got some plan to unearth some magical Indian legendary artifact and rule the world, or what have you. And then he pins a murder on Teddy. So Teddy's in trouble. They think he killed someone. He's got to fight his way out and stop his commanding officer from taking over the world. There's a really great emotional dynamic where he tries to convince his wife to come with him, and it's just all too much. He starts talking about magic and his commander betraying him and trust me, come with me. And she can't handle it. So in the end, he has to go off on his own. And he has a daughter who's now growing up without her father, with all of the mean, nasty girls believing that he's guilty of treason. So there's some classic high school dynamics. She doesn't want to believe her father's a scumbag. I guess there's this subplot where a lot of people are having weird mystical visions or something. And her father sends her a note giving her a compass and promising her that he's done nothing wrong and he'll come back for her. So clearly she's on a quest to go find her dad and prove him innocent. Meanwhile, her dad is like infiltrating all of like these ancient Indian thief societies where they cut your hand off if you're caught stealing, and he's got a robot arm now. So I guess that's where the futurist part comes in, is we're going to have some like futuristic technology in a British Empire war in India scenario. There's some neat little, concept art of the different characters. Neato. So issue 2 was much, much better than issue 1. So I was a little worried by issue 1. It kind of like just ended like in the middle of a scene and I don't know where it was going. Issue 2 seems like they're finding their focus and they're heading in the right direction. Red Rooster issue 2. Issue 1 had some incorrect information on the credits page, and I think that's been corrected. So Mark Pellegrini originally was contracted to do the story and the script. The script was rewritten, and the first issue didn't say by who. And so issue 2 acknowledges that Patrick Stiles has done the revision of the script, and Mark Pellegrini is credited for basically outlining the overall story of it. So I mentioned that in my first video. I'll just say, yep, I'm glad you updated that. Look, I hope that's all the correct information. The other elephant in the room is that Red Rooster is two years late for its backers. Oh boy. But looking at it on its own merits, it looks like a really thoughtful take on the Golden Age hero. And the thing I'm worried about is, does the average Walmart reader understand or interested enough in a thoughtful take on the Golden Age hero, where Red Rooster lives in Big Town. He kind of has a Batman and Robin set up with his partner. He's worried that he's failed his partner because his kid sidekick has kind of grown up to be a drunk jerk. And is he man enough to face these new threats as all the villains gather their forces to tear him apart? And it's going to be the classic thing where all the villains get together. They know his secret identity, so they're basically going to torture him and break him down by attacking him where it hurts. We meet some other kind of like fun characters. What's this guy's name? Pilgrim Shadow. He has a really cool, I don't like the name Pilgrim Shadow, but he has a really cool look, kind of like an old-timey, ranger in a poncho. So Red Rooster has to go fight the bad guys in the big fair. Meanwhile, the villains are attacking him at multiple fronts. They send some villains to basically murder or attempt to murder his elderly parents. So it's kind of like, if Darkseid shows up at Ma and Pa Kent's house and starts attacking Ma and Pa Kent, kind of has that vibe to it. I like this panel because it kind of shows, I think, Mitch Breisweiser's strength. I think Mitch Breisweiser, his strength is that he does really good dynamic posing with his figures. So he's doing kind of like a loose, quick gesture sketch to get the feel of this pose. Kind of like inking it quickly, but then getting like this, I don't know, like rough, flowing movement feel to it. So it is very rough. It is like a very rough, quick job on sketching it out, but his fundamentals of art are good enough that I actually kind of like sketchy work. So it works for me. I don't recall her name. One of the female counterparts to Red Rooster gets attacked and has a back and forth with the big bad, and he seems to be like genuinely sinister. Like he doesn't care if he's going to kill all of the other kooky supervillains. He just has had it with Red Rooster, and he's gonna murder him. Now, one thing about this is I'm projecting a lot of ideas from Golden Age characters onto these characters. So I'm kind of reading him as a Lex Luthor. I'm reading her as kind of a Wonder Woman. I'm reading Red Rooster as kind of a Batman, Superman mashup. So I interpret this as kind of like a Lex Luthor character finally getting his revenge on his arch nemesis. One of the problems is that a character like Red Rooster doesn't have the long backstory and history of a Superman or a Batman. So you don't have you can't pull from that long history with that. But it is working. Like I'm able to read the characters or kind of interpret the character archetypes. And I think we leave off with the villain showing up and Red Rooster in trouble. A lot of good stuff did happen. We met Red Rooster's parents. We saw kind of like the continuing problem with his sidekick Strong Boy resenting Red Rooster and kind of becoming like a bad man as he grows up. We see the villains basically like threatening his family and himself and everything he loves. So it's a pretty deadly, dangerous situation. I think we need to be seeing a little bit more of who Red Rooster is. Now, we do get hints of that. We get hints of that with him kind of being like a folksy country boy who loves his ma and pa and works on the farm. But it's going to be really important for us to get inside Red Rooster's head and understand him as a hero, I think, so that we can connect with him as more than just like a take on Superman or Batman. So that's the thing I'm worried about. So Red Rooster and Futurist, I give these like a moderate recommendation. If you got the cash, pick them up. Norah's Saga and Bass Reeves, I give those a really strong recommendation. Definitely worth the money. Really, really interested to see how Norah's Saga and Bass Reeves develop. All right, Indie Comics in Walmart. That's 10 minutes. I love you guys. I'm #1 Marmaduke fan. And I'll catch you later.